Here is the Hall of Trials Kayron video for this month. There is a chunk of RNG to the Kayron fight, but pound for pound it's a pretty easy fight to get through and get your Dagger Sicar score. Rangers get a pretty good bonus this month, but we're still going to stick with Sirmia for our damage dealer because there just aren't a lot of high damage ranger units. We need to be able to inflict a blind, decrease hit chance to get that 75% bonus. And healing is nerfed pretty heavily in this, so I wouldn't worry about packing a healer or trying to sustain. This is the team that I decided to go with. Faithless Litica is going to be my blind unit. I'll explain why in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the fastest unit on the team, Kitty Clarissa. Kitty Clarissa is very important for this fight. I like having her dual attack chance turned on to help with the dual attacks. I put her on her S1 exclusive equipment, because even though healing's nerfed, it does help a little bit keeping Sirmia alive. And I put her on Warhorn to boost everybody's attack up a notch. I put her on the fastest gear I could find, while still maintaining a decent amount of tankiness because she's my front row unit. She's going to take some hits. Kitty is a tough unit to replace for this fight, but you could try Camilla or maybe Tamarin. Singelica is my second speed unit. I've got her attack imprint turned on to boost the damage layout of all my other units. I put her on Doctor's Bag just for a little extra sustain, hoping that maybe that heal will help me push all the way to the end of the fight and keep me going for that big bonus damage. I put her on very similar speed unit to Kitty Clarissa, a little bit slower. Ideally I want her to go after Kitty Clarissa. That's really all there is to say about this unit. I put a little bit of tankiness on her, but speed, speed, and speed. And now Sirmia, sporting her summer skin. I built her with as much damage as I could squeeze on her. I gave her S1 EE, that's the source of her extra damage from her dual attacks. I put her on Cruel Mischief. You could run Symbol of Unity or some other damage output artifact, and I just stacked as much damage as I could on her. I didn't bother with Penetration set because during the break phase the boss already has 100% defense pen, so it doesn't really help. Now here's the tricky part. Sirmia's base speed is low, so you can see on this neck it's got 11 speed on it. I needed it to get her speed a little bit faster because the trick is you need your blind unit to go after Sirmia. So Faithless Litica has a higher base speed than Sirmia, so I really had to struggle to get her speed 5% slower than Sirmia's, but I did pull it off. Again, I put Rage Set on her because she actually does a pretty good chunk of damage with her S1. And the reason I went with Litica for my blind unit is because her blind is on her S1 skill. It's a 75% chance, but since her S1 skill is a single target attack, it will apply blind and the target debuff in one motion. You can see here 75% to blind, and it's a single target attack, so in a perfect world I land blind and target from Song of Stars in one attack, and that will help me maximize my damage. This is that RNG I was talking about, not getting 15%ed on Song of Stars and not getting 25%ed, I guess, on the blind debuff. There are other blind units that you can use. Fire Litica has it on her S2, but it's an AoE attack. Arby has it on his S3. It's a 100% chance, but you don't get the target, but Arby dishes out pretty good damage. So there are other options for your blind unit. At the start of the fight, you take a hit from Kayron, but it's not that much damage. Because of the speed of my Kitty and my Singelica, I need to waste one attack on each of them. If your Kitty and Singelica are slower, you might start out with their S3s. But once they lap around, I'll go ahead and activate my S3. Now you want to make sure you only hit Kayron. I hit the ads, and that was kind of a mistake, but if you hit the ads, Kayron can push up and can cut, and you really don't want him cutting and blinding important units. When you hit Kayron, it pushes the ads up, so they all do all of their attacks, which Singelica here, especially with Doctor's Bag, will cleanse and heal everybody up. Sirmia activates her S2, which gives her greater attack buff, and even if you don't have that debuff on there, you should one-shot through that defense buff, because as you can see, 50% defense penetration. That defense buff means nothing to us. and you push straight into the break phase. Timed perfectly with Lidica going second. She's now ready to use her S1. If you do the S1 like this and you don't apply both debuffs, just restart the fight. It's not worth pushing on. So here we are jumping ahead, doing the break phase. Now my Lidica is ready to use her S1 skill, and as you can see, I got both debuffs this time, so I'm good to move forward. At this point, you're just trying to get dual attacks off of that S1 EE, like that. Those dual attacks, if you get at least one, you should be good. Two, you should be really good for pushing phase. I am now all out of juice for my dual attacks. Now, here I could S1 for a chance at a dual attack, but you want to use your S3 here. And the reason for that is her S3 gives everybody skill null. And when we exit this phase, Kayron's going to do his AoE attack. It's going to do that right into that skill null, so we'll take no damage. And this is important because we don't have a healer on the team. I went ahead and transformed Kitty to get one more attack in, and I got the double hit in. And every once in a while, it gives you that one last attack like it did right there. Sometimes it cheats you out of it. So the skill null means we took no damage, and we're ready to try to push on to the next phase. Now you want to somewhat rush phase 2, but you want to stall just long enough where Lidica gets to take an extra turn, and I'll explain why in a minute. So I use the S2 to strip away as many of those debuffs as I can. And I'm going to sandbag Singelica's S3 because it has a very long cooldown, and I probably won't be able to have it come back around again before I'm ready to push phase. I'm taking out the ads because they do damage and I don't really have a healer. So I want to get rid of them to protect myself, and they can also stun. Kitty luckily wasn't impacted by the stun there. I'll go ahead and use the S1 to try to get blind and target. Unfortunately, I only got the target, 25%ed. Again, I don't want to use Singelica's S3 until I'm ready to push phase.
Will you play with me now?
Kitty, you can go ahead and transform anytime you want because she cycles her skills so quickly. There's really no problem with activating her S3. You'll also get that blind off of my Sirmia.
Destroying everything is too annoying.
I'm going to rip the S2 because it's enough to take out that ad, and it puts a debuff on Kayron, which, you know, is helpful. Gives me a little extra damage due to the rage set. And luckily Kayron didn't blind Sirmia, so we'll keep pushing a little bit further. Blind on Kitty Clarissa doesn't matter that much. As you can see, that S1EE doing a little bit of healing, keeping my Sirmia healthy. Try to get an attack break. Miss the attack break. So as you can see, we got 3 turns left until that S3 is ready, and that's pretty good. So I'm going to use the S2 here just to strip away that attack buff so that Kayron won't hit me full force. He's getting ready to do his AoE swipe and bring the ads back. I'm not quite ready. Well, yeah, I'm not quite ready to push phase yet, so I'm going to hold back on that S3 because I will have, or on that greater attack buff S2, because I'll have these ads to attack into. So I strip the, oh, I didn't strip anything. Okay, we're going to activate Singelica now. And we're going to transform Kitty. And if I do an S1, hopefully it's enough to push us into the phase. And it's not enough. Oh, but I got a dual attack. Okay, excellent. So we pushed into the phase. This is the hardest part, threading this needle so that you push into the phase where Lidica is ready to go first and give you those double debuffs. And luckily I got the double debuffs again. I got the blind for the extra damage, and I got the target for the extra damage. I'm going to go ahead and activate Sirmia's S2 so I have a greater attack buff. And now I'm just hoping for those dual attacks off of that S1EE. And there's one. Got one right out of the gate. Another dual attack. Excellent. Another double hit. So we're over 10 million points. You only need 8.5 million points. So even if your gear is substantially lower quality than mine, even if you kind of flub entering into the break phase, you should still be able to get 8.5 million points. I'm over 11 right now. One more dual attack would be great. Didn't get it. So 11.88. Now, this is why you want to stall a little bit in phase 2. I'm going to go ahead and do this to give everybody an attack buff and I think a little bit of a heal. Yeah, there's that doctor's bag heal. That's going to help me out. I'm going to transform Kitty. And I'm going to strip away with that S2 and get rid of all of those crit chance debuffs. And now Lydica's S3 is ready, and the timing is perfect because Kayron's getting ready to do his S3, his big choke attack, which would probably kill somebody. But with the S3, everybody gets skill null. I'll go ahead and try to take out another one of these ads. You want to get rid of these stage 3 ads as quickly as possible. They're deadly to leave in place. So don't try to rush Kayron. Go ahead and take care of those ads first. Kayron stripped and did all kinds of debuff nastiness, but nobody died, nobody lost any health. We kill the last of the ads, and now we are free to burst Kayron down as quickly as possible. Maybe I'll get a double attack. Nope, no such luck. And into the skill null for no damage, and into the skill null for no damage. He did blind us, but Kitty's ready to transform, and that gets rid of all of these debuffs. And this is a very, very clean stage 3. Now I got greater attack buff. I'm going to use my S3 because Kayron does have defense now, so that 50% pen will really help with damage. I'll go ahead and use this to give everybody an attack buff. And with an S1, maybe I get blind and target. Well, I at least got the target, but this finishes the fight. So, with the 1 million point bonus, this is a little over 13 million. Which ought to be a solid ranking for Hall of Trials. Yeah, second place. I bet I knew who's ahead of me. Yeah, there he is, Rarbusto. Man, he must have gotten some really good dual attack procs for that score. That's impressive. So, I hope this video helps you get to your Dagger Sicar threshold this week. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. And if you enjoy the video, like and subscribe.